All right, guys, so today we're going to be talking about midpoints, okay? And midpoints are exactly what they sound like. It's just the middle point, okay? So if we want to find the midpoint between the two endpoints, 1, -3, and 3, 5, there's two different ways we can do that. The first way is very simple. All we have to do is graph it, okay? So I know how to graph 1, -3, okay? I'm going to go to 1 and then down to -3, and I'm going to put a point there. And then the other point is at 3, 5. So I'm going to go over to 3 and up to 5. Okay, I can take my straight edge. Oops. Line it up with my 2 points, draw a nice straight line. Okay, and if I look, the midpoint is that big dot right in between the other two. Okay, and I name my midpoint the same way I name any other point, as a coordinate pair. Okay? If I look at this, I got to go over first. It's over 2. It's up 1. So that point is 2, 1. Okay? It's really easy to see in this problem using the graph, but a lot of problems are not going to be as easy to see, or you're going to get decimal answers. So it's really important that we have a strategy for solving that doesn't include the graph. Okay? And all we have to do for that is we have to basically find the number that's in between our x's, 1 and 3, and the number that's in between our y's, -3 and 5. So we're just going to calculate the average x and the average y, and that's going to be our midpoint. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay, coordinate pairs are written like this. They start with x, and then they've got y. So for these two endpoints, my x values are 1 and 3. So to find the average x, I'm just going to add those two numbers together. Okay, and I'm going to divide by how many numbers I've got. I've got 2 numbers. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my average x is 2. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the y's. Okay, y, and now I'm going to come back over here. Y is the second number here in my ordered pair. So I'm going to pick -3 and 5. So y is equal to -3 plus 5 divided by 2. Okay, and think with your number line. -3 plus 5 is 2, divided by 2 is just 1. Okay, so I got 2 and 1. And we should see that we get the same midpoint, whether we use the equation or the graph. And if we get the same midpoint, we know we did it right.
So like Mr. Matthews just said, sometimes the midpoint will be like clear when you graph it, sometimes it won't. So let's go ahead and take our 2 new endpoints and see what it looks like on the graph so we can see it or not. First I see 4, 6, so I'll go over 4, up 6. My other point is -3, 1, so I'll go -3 and +1. And if we sort of connect them, it looks to me like our midpoint looks like it's somewhere over here. It doesn't look like it hits an exact spot though, so I'm not 100% sure what it is just from the graph. So we're going to need to use some algebra to prove it. And like what Mr. Matthews just said, we're going to use the midpoint formula, which is what he did when he added the x's together and divided by 2. Then he added the y values together and divided by 2. Formulas don't have to be complicated. That's all the midpoint formula is. So I'm going to take my 2 x values, 4 and -3, and I'm going to divide it by 2 to get my x values. Then I'm going to take my y values, 6 and 1, and I'm going to divide that by 2 to get my y value. I took my x's, I'm adding them together. I'm taking my y's, I'm adding those together. Now we just got to simplify. 4 plus -3 is the same as just 4 minus 3. The negative sign wins there. 4 minus 3 is 1. And then I see it's 1 divided by 2, which as a decimal will give us 0.5. Over here I see 6 plus 1 is 7. Divided by 2 will give us 3.5. And down here I'm just going to make that into a nice coordinate grid. Now let's see if our answer kind of matches what we see here. Our x is at 0.5, so if I go 0.5 and then up 1, 2, 3, 0.5. Just where we estimated, it looked like that was near the middle. The algebra proved that was true.